The wind carries a whisper across the Eurasian steppe, as though the earth itself remembers a secret. Beneath that invisible breath lies a question so ancient, so profound. Who were the Slavs before their name echoed across half of Europe? Not long ago, most of us assumed their origin could be drawn on a map: Russia, Poland, Serbia. But the true story is neither simple nor written in dusty chronicles. It's inscribed deep in our DNA. For centuries, scholars argued over where the Slavic people came from: marshes in Ukraine and Belarus, nomadic horsemen on the Eurasian steppe, forgotten Baltic tribes. The theories were many, the certainty was none. Then modern genetics intervened, and everything changed. Scientists began extracting and sequencing ancient DNA from skeletons buried under the soils of Poland, Ukraine, and Russia. And what they discovered was electrifying. The roots of the Slavs were older, deeper, and more intertwined than history books ever dared to suggest. This isn't myth-making, it's molecular archaeology. When we look at the Y-DNA of modern Slavic men, one marker dominates: haplogroup R1a, found in over half of some populations. That lineage connects them to ancient steppe tribes, especially the corded-ware people, and, more distantly, the Yamna culture. These were not distant invaders, they were the ancestors, the founding bloodlines of what would become the Slavic world. Thousands of years ago, the Yamna people roamed the Pontic-Caspian steppe. Expert horsemen, skilled herders, their presence carved deep into the genetic record. Their DNA signature, especially in their broader ancestry, is found in modern Slavic populations. Indo-European connection +2+2. But there's a twist. While their broad genetic legacy endured across Europe, the Yamna men's Y-DNA was mostly R1b, not R1a. Eupedia +2, Kuchwar +2. This raises a compelling mystery. How did R1a come to dominate in Slavic male lines? Enter the corded-ware culture. Bronze Age farmers and nomads across Central and Eastern Europe. Genetic studies show that the majority of corded-ware men carried R1a M417, the very lineage that thousands of years later defines Slavic Y-DNA. Everything explained today, +2, Kuchwar, +2. That means that while the Yamna ancestry provided a broad genetic foundation, these corded-ware communities forged something new, and it's within their legacy that the core Slavic paternal signature lies. But the story doesn't stop at paternal lines. When we look at mitochondrial DNA, the genetic line passed from mother to child, Slavic women show continuity with Europe's oldest farmers and hunter-gatherers, haplogroups like H, U, and J. As the Slavs spread, they didn't erase the people they met, they absorbed them. Their expansion was not violent, it was integration. Their DNA is a tapestry sewn from countless threads. This blending began millennia before the Great Slavic expansion of the early medieval period. Around 1500 BCE, the corded-ware people were already mingling, trading, marrying across landscapes that would become modern Slavic lands. Over time, they laid the cultural and genetic foundations of what we now call Proto-Slavic identity. Archaeological evidence supports this. In burial sites across ancient Poland, Ukraine, and Belarus, researchers found tools, ceramics, and practices reminiscent of both steppe and farmer traditions. These belonged to Proto-Slavic peoples long before the name Slav ever appeared. By the 5th and 6th centuries CE, Europe was in upheaval. The Roman Empire was crumbling, and tribes moved like restless shadows on the map. In that chaos, the Slavs rose, not with swords, but in settlement. In the marshes of what is now Belarus and Ukraine, Slavic-speaking communities slowly spread, filling the void left by other tribes. But their rise was not violent. Instead, they blended. Modern genetic data reflects this nuanced transformation. Slavic populations today carry traces of Germanic, Finno-Ugric, and even Turkic ancestry in varying degrees. In the West, Slavs intermarried with Celtic and Germanic peoples. In the South, they merged with Romanized populations in local Balkan tribes. In the east, they married into Finno-Ugric communities, and even later into Scandinavian Viking blood. Take, for instance, Great Moravia, a Slavic kingdom of the 9th century that covered parts of present-day Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. Genome analyses from that region reveal early Slavic ancestry mixed with Germanic and Avar Turkic lineages, a vibrant, multicultural fusion. Further east, in the nascent Kievan Rus, the ruling Rurik dynasty descended from Norse Vikings who became Slavs by marriage and settlement. Ancient graves in Ukraine and Russia confirm this, skeletons with both Norse and Slavic DNA, a biological testament to a dynasty built on integration. In the Balkans, too, the Slavic story evolved. The first Bulgarian Empire was founded by Turkic-speaking Bulgars who over time merged with Slavic settlers. Their descendants, modern Bulgarians, carry ancestral traces of Turkic, Thracian, and Slavic lineages. Even the brutal Mongol invasions of the 13th century left a subtle mark. Small but detectable amounts of Central Asian DNA remain in some Eastern Slavic populations, a lingering echo of an era of war and upheaval. Centering all of this is R1a, the paternal hallmark of Slavic men. One sub-branch, R1a Z282, is almost uniquely Slavic, marking a core signature of their deep ancestry. This lineage, born out of Bronze Age expansions, persisted through centuries of disruption, merging, and migration.
Yet this genetic continuity would not have been possible without the maternal lines. As Slavs moved, they absorbed local women. Their mitochondrial DNA reveals a persistence of lineages from Neolithic Europe, hunter-gatherer and early farmer mothers who became the womb of the Slavic future. That includes haplogroups H, U, and J, which today are still common across Slavic-speaking populations. The Slavic genetic story also contains markers of adaptation. Over time, their ancestors developed traits suited to their environments. Genes for lactose digestion, likely crucial for pastoral herders. Variations that favored vitamin D absorption in colder climates. Adaptations in fat metabolism that helped survival through long winters. These are not just historical footnotes. They echo the lived reality of ancestors who thrived in challenging landscapes.
Despite their deep mixing, Slavs remain genetically distinct. Modern genetic studies show that Poles, Czechs, and Slovaks share strong kinship with Germans and Baltic peoples. Russians and Ukrainians retain significant Finno-Ugric and Central Asian signals. South Slavs, like Serbs and Bulgarians, trace lines to Greek, Thracian, and Turkic ancestors. But beneath this diversity lies the same ancient core, a genetic foundation shaped by the steppe and preserved across millennia. This genetic truth has been confirmed over and over, not just in living populations, but in ancient remains. Burial sites across Poland, Ukraine, and Russia, some over 3,000 years old, carried the same molecular signatures found in modern Slavs. Even from the 6th to 10th century CE, when the Slavic cultures were solidifying, genetic analysis shows integration, not invasion. Their ancestors didn't just fight, they married, assimilated, and adapted. One of the most remarkable revelations comes from analyses of purported Rurik dynasty remains. These were the Viking rulers of early Eastern Europe. Genetic testing reveals a seamless blending of Norse and Slavic DNA, a dynastic tapestry that aligns with the written chronicles now confirmed in genes. Still, the Mongol and Turkic lines remain to remind us that Slavic history was not isolated. Though small, these inputs are detectable even today, proving that conquest, migration, and assimilation continued to leave their marks even in later centuries. But what does this mean for identity today? It means that being Slavic is not about modern borders, nor is it about purity. It is about a shared ancestry, a living thread stretching back thousands of years, woven from countless encounters, unions, and migrations. Even after centuries of war, empire, and displacement, the Slavic genetic core persisted. This is not just a story for academic journals or museum displays. It's the story of people rediscovering their roots. Slavic diasporas across the Americas, Central Asia, and beyond are now tracing their heritage through genetic testing. Families long separated by continents and generations are finding connections they never imagined. And in doing so, they're bringing this ancient story into the present. So if you've ever wondered where your own ancestry lies, or what secrets your genome might hold, you're part of a much larger narrative. The Slavic story is a testament to survival, not through domination, but through integration, through cooperation, through adaptation, through love and lineage. The journey we've taken, from the steppe of the Yamna, through corded-ware settlements, across early medieval kingdoms into modern nations, is not over. Science continues to advance. Ancient DNA from hidden graves, forgotten cemeteries, and remote landscapes continues to fill in the gaps. And with every sequenced genome, we sharpen the picture of who we were and who we are. If you found this journey into our shared past compelling, I invite you to subscribe and follow along. New discoveries are emerging all the time, and your curiosity helps drive them forward. Because, in the end, the story of the Slavs is not just a chapter in history, it's a living, evolving narrative written in our very cells. Identity is not just in names or borders, but in the threads of ancestry that cross continents, centuries, and cultures. The Slavs were never simply conquerors or settlers. They were a synthesis, a family woven together by time, transformed by connection, and preserved in the code of life itself. As the camera fades out from ancient burial mounds to modern cityscapes, we reflect on the truth. The past lives within us. And when we look into our genome, we are looking at a story far older than any map, deeper than any written chronicle. A story of perseverance, of unity in diversity, and of a heritage that endures in every strand of our DNA. Join us next time as we venture further into the Carpathians, into the Balkans, into the DNA of other peoples whose histories lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered. The journey continues.